Hi guys, welcome back to another video, and in this video we're going to be taking a look at a monitor calibration device. Datacolor reached out to me just before the end of last year, before Christmas, and says, hey, do you want to try one of our new Datacolor SpyderX Pros? And considering I've been thinking about buying a new monitor calibrator, I said yes. So let's take a look. Okay, now in full disclosure, Datacolor sent this for me to keep and review. However, my own unbiased opinion, I am well known for speaking my mind, and if something doesn't work or has faults, I will call them out or I will say so. But thank you and shout out to Datacolor for sending this over. Now, in terms of monitor calibrators, I've been using some X-Rite Colour Monkey displays for what must be 4 or 5 years. I don't know if my monitor's in the way there. Let me move that a bit. And they've been fine. They've done a good turn. There was an issue with their early software, their basic version software, that made the image look very contrasty, which I had to work around on the tether station that I'm actually sat at here. However, moving to their i1 software resolved that, so it's nice to carry the hardware forward. However, with these now being discontinued and fairly basic in terms of their use in respects of the software that X-Rite runs now, it gives me a little bit of pause for thought on whether maybe I should move on up the range or go to something different, and this is why we're having a look at the Datacolor Spyder. So we'll take a look at what we get in the box first. Now, unfortunately, as we unbox this, I've tried to screen capture the before and after calibration. And unfortunately, it just doesn't work. OBS won't record it. I've tried even doing screen grabs with calibration off, calibration on, and it just doesn't translate or display. So what I will need to do, I'll need to simulate what I'm seeing the difference being. So apologies for that. I don't know what's going on, but there we go. So in the box, what we get is the Datacolor Spyder link. Go there and download your software, because it's a software-based application that runs on your PC or Mac and works along with the hardware, which we can see here, the Datacolor SpyderX. Now, they've sent me the Datacolor SpyderX Pro, and if we have a look at their website, there's a ton of information on each variation of the SpyderX products, as well as the kits for complete workflow calibration. So that could be your monitor all the way through to print, projectors, etc. And they've got Macbeth or color chart cards that you can use to build profiles on. So complete color calibration and workflow, depending on whether you're just going online from your monitor to web or all the way through a full print process. Now, the SpyderX Pro that they've sent over, if we have a look down on their website here, it tells us some of the difference. Now, the SpyderX Pro versus the SpyderX Elite, both do easy calibration, can adjust for the ambient room light that you're in. Quick tip, by the way, when you're calibrating, I mean, the software will tell you this anyway, if you're calibrating in too bright of a room, so under these video lights isn't a great way to calibrate, it will tell you that it's too bright. So really you want your room to be a little bit darker. I recommend backlighting your monitor as well, personally, just so it lets your eyes see your desk, keyboard and mouse without eye strain looking at the darker sections there, and just keep the room lights low. Don't need to put any music on, light a candle, but generally turn the room lights down a little bit. So if we have a look at the differences, you've got display mapping and analysis tool, basic and advanced, so Pro versus the Elite. Calibration setting choice is 12 versus unlimited, That sounds complicated. Expert console calibration on the Elite version, as well as projector calibration. So the SpyderX Pro will calibrate your laptop monitor, an external display or multiple external displays if you are using them, and of course desktop computer monitors as well. If you do want to calibrate a projector, you would need to go to the Elite version. Now the Elite version does bring with it as well studio matching. So if you're using or running a photography studio, or retouching studio that has multiple stations, you can calibrate them to a similar level and profile, so you're all singing off the same hymn sheet, so to speak, which is nice. So the datacolor SpyderX Pro, if we pop this out of the box, it is a I don't know, a little puck kind of thing. Plenty of cable, nicely wrapped up, with a cover. You can see on top of it here, there's an ambient light sensor, so this will read the room light or the available light in your room and tell you the levels to set your monitor's brightness wise, and it'll go through that on the calibration as well. And you also get a 1/4 thread on the side for mounting this onto a tripod and such. I think that's probably just default in this shell or casing, because that would be more really for projectors. I could be wrong, who knows. Right, now, like I say, the calibrations I've been using, they are quite old now and discontinued, so it does make me wonder, should I move to something different like the datacolor SpyderX Pro? And over the last month or so that I've been using this, I've found no problems at all, and it is much quicker on the calibration than my Color Monkey display, which is nice because I have a laptop external display, another display in the office where I do the editing when I work in here, and I've got a machine at home which is the main editing machine, which has 2 panels attached to it. So that's handy there. Now, if we take a look at the software for the SpyderX, I think what I'll do, I'll connect it. Oh, Velcro. There we go. I'll connect it up to the laptop so it comes to life, and the software will let me see a little bit more in terms of options. I won't take you through a full calibration because no, I'll just have to time lapse it through anyway, so I won't do that. But we will take a look at the software. Now, if we have a look at the little icon which is down at the bottom, in your tray here, then you can right click on here. This may be different on Mac. Nice feature, you can turn calibration on or off. Now, generally speaking, once you've calibrated your monitor, you'll leave it calibrated, and you'll calibrate it every 4 to 6 weeks. You can actually set the time in the preferences, which we'll see shortly. The nice thing is, I think for me, because you can switch that calibration off. If I've got a client on set that goes, has a look at a file that's been pinged over to them on their laptop that's possibly not calibrated, well, the colours don't look right. What's going on here? Well, I can show you my panel is calibrated, all the colours are correct. If I turn it off, we get similar to yours. So it saves the email chain and the multiple phone calls later saying that there's something wrong with the colour, you've done something wrong. No, your monitor's not calibrated. That's annoying. So you've got plenty of preferences and options that you can work through. You can remove dialog boxes that pop up after 1 minute or keep them on the screen for longer. So basically when the datacolor SpyderX Pro tells you, yo, time to calibrate again, it'll either go away quickly or stay on the screen until you actually pay attention to it. We've got room light monitoring. You can tell it to automatically adjust or monitor the room light or the available light. So let's say if you're working during the day, as it transitions through the day and gets darker into the evening, it will remind you that you may need to recalibrate to continue working. Load the video card lookup table every 60 minutes. Technical, won't go into that. And recalibrate every month. I think it's up to a month, or you can do up to 6 months. So quite a few choices. I tend to do every 4 to 6 weeks, so I've just set it for a month personally myself, and the software will always start on startup as well. So it's got some nice little features, and for me, I'm very, very interested in their product line moving forward because, like I say, I'm on outdated hardware on the X-Rite Colour Monkey display. It's been fine, it's done a good turn. I'm just concerned now that it's now discontinued and am I missing out on something? One thing that I noticed that the original, very, very basic X-Rite Colour Monkey software never did during calibrating. So if we load the Spyder Pro software up here, it never actually asked me what kind of panel that we're calibrating. And we can see actually here, it gives you a nice guide. Have you let your monitor warm up for at least half an hour? Maybe a bit longer if you're in a cold environment like my studio. Lighting conditions, are you working in suitable lighting for the calibration? So it gives you some prompts and steps to go through getting ready for calibration, which is good. Now, this is the part here where it asks you what panel type you're using. I think that the very basic software with the X-Rite Colour Monkey display just kind of, it either auto-detected or did its best to do so, or just had a generic setting. Whilst I had no issues with the calibration, it does make me wonder. Anyway, but at least with this, and I do believe that the more advanced X-Rite calibrators, so just to be fair to them, they do ask you the panel types. It asks you whether it's a standard LED backlit, wide LED, general or GB LED. And you'll find that during the setup of this, you'll need to do a little bit of research on the monitor type that's in your laptop versus the external monitor that you're using. So a little bit of extra setup time, but once you know which panels they are and these profiles are saved, you're fine, you're good to go at that point. But it's good that it actually wants to know what panel type it's calibrating so it can do a better job at the calibration. So my external monitor here, the BenQ, is a standard LED backlit, and then it would just go through. And you can see current target settings. If I go for full calibration, recalibration, check calibration, so you can do a check on a calibration just to see if actually does it need to be done. And whilst I remember, if you go down to the icon at the bottom, you can do explain status from the menu, and it'll give you a pop-up. Normally this will have a lot of information in. It doesn't for me at the moment, but I screen captured it before, and it tells you when calibration is due. So when it was last done and roughly how many days until next calibration. So that's handy to know. So if you're just about to do a shoot, tethered, and your client's about to walk through the door in 15 minutes and you're like, oh, I've not calibrated, you can check the date and time and say, I'm okay, I've got like 3 days, it's fine, all good. So if we go through onto full calibration, and here, and now it's here, it's warning me that the environment that I am in is too bright. I'm lit by video light, so obviously it's too bright really for doing this. Anyway, so I won't go further through into the calibration, but it will do a colour profile for you, a calibration, and give you a before and after. Now I've had to simulate these before and afters because, don't know why, but OBS, nothing would screen capture the difference on the before and after. However, I can see it on the screen. So why it wouldn't capture, I don't know. But basically you turn the calibration off and you get a very blue, cool tone, especially you can see it in the whites. I've noticed as well that highlights bloom a little bit on the images versus when they're calibrated, and when you put the calibration on, the whites go warmer. Now this is where I think a lot of people flip out and go, oh, there's something wrong with the calibration, it looks so different, that's not white. Actually it is, it's a truer white versus the blue that you get on a lot of monitors. So the calibration is correct, so don't worry about that. And it just ties everything in, brings all colours in line within the gamut of the display and its capabilities. So you know then anything going out of the door is calibrated, good to go. How it looks on anybody else's screens that are like 10 years old or the brightness cranked up to full, that is out of your hands. At least you know that you have a good workflow. And that's where that turn calibration on and off is a nice feature. Just if you've got to have a conversation with the client, look, your monitor's not great, it's not calibrated. If I turn calibration off, see what we get. Calibration on, it is correct, so the files are fine. Nice little features. I do like the fact as well that the datacolor SpyderX Pro is much faster at calibration. I've got multiple monitors, I've got 2 here, 1 in there, 2 at home, so it saves me time going forwards. So I'm seriously considering switching. I need to do a bit more research myself, on the additional accessories, so like the color chart card, for example. The Spyder or datacolor chart looks quite large, which is fine keeping it in the studio. I don't fancy having to pack that and keep it in good condition in the bag. The X-Rite color checker folds up in a nice plastic case. So little things like that I need to have a look at. But overall, I'm impressed with this, and thank you very much to Datacolor for sending it over. If you've got any questions, guys, on monitor calibration, let me know in the comments below. Do you calibrate? Are you using a Datacolor Spyder, maybe even an older one, or are you using something from X-Rite? Sound off in the comments below. Have you been thinking about calibrating, and are you working professionally, being paid to shoot stills, and not working on a calibrated monitor? If you are, you need to stop what you're doing and go buy a monitor calibrator. Right, thank you very much for watching, guys. I will catch you in the next video.